Okay, in hypopressives, we often talk about stacking our rib cage over our pelvis and keeping all that lined up so that the diaphragm can work in harmony with the pelvic floor. So if we have our bum tucked under, often see tuckers, our pelvis is forward of our ribs, right? Or we're a little slouchy. If we're pokers, bum pokes out, our ribs often have to flare. Okay, so there's a bunch of different ways that we can work on getting our ribs stacked. So the first one that I find the easiest for people that don't have a big arch or a tuck is to just soften your knees a little bit. Okay, and you can see that your pelvis and your ribs stack. Okay, some of us it's not that easy. So for those of you, I want you to think about, try them all, see what works best for you. So I want you to think about your rib cage being a bell. We want to ring it back and forth. And we want to ring it side to side, because sometimes we're tipped to the side. Okay, and then I want your movements to get a little bit smaller. Good, and then I want you to pause when you think your ribs and your pelvis are stacked. You can usually feel it. Awesome. Okay, the other way to do this is have one hand on the front, one hand on the back, and I want you to slouch. And I want you to inhale here and exhale, push down on your tailbone, up on your pelvis. So down on the back, up on the front. Soften your knees. Good, see how this feels. The other way you can do this too, you can have your arms over your head and lock them. And think about, okay, how do I line up? Often it's bringing your ribs down in this position. When we come all the way up, we often shove our ribs forward. Okay, so come all the way up, get long through the back, pull down with your ribs a little bit. Good, feel that. See if you can hold it when you come down. Now see if you can let your belly relax. Okay, some of you that helps. Another way to do it is think about having the palms or your wrists on your ASIS, those hip bones, and your fingers go towards your pubic bone and your thumbs go towards your belly button, below your belly button, obviously. And then you can stack and you can feel, so if you push your hips forward, you can feel how your fingers are pointing away, right? And then you adjust and you arch your back and you can feel your fingers pointing kind of behind you. So now I want you to adjust in the middle so that you feel like your hands are even and flat. Okay, and breathe and let your belly go. Awesome. Okay, so experiment, see what works for you. One last one. The last image is to imagine that you have a flashlight held in your vagina. I don't want you to actually do it, but imagine it. And then when our hips are tipped under, pelvis is tipped under, our flashlight's pointing ahead, right? And when our back is arched and our ribs are flared, our flashlight is pointing back. And then when we're in neutral, we're stacked, our flashlight is pointing right down in between our feet, the arches of our feet. You can also think about your perineum, that spot between your vagina and your anus, is just going towards the floor a little bit there. Dropping your tail. Good, some of us have to lift our tail. So it's an experiment. You can film yourself. It helps mostly to film yourself from the side and see what works. And if you have a coach, ask your coach. Okay, talk to you soon.